The situation was a lot calmer today at most roadblocks mounted at the limits of the Nairobi metropolitan area. There were fewer vehicles and pedestrians queuing for clearance before crossing the borders. These motorists waited calmly for their turn to have their documentation checked before proceeding on their journeys. This roadblock along Kangundo Road was yesterday evening at Kamulu. It has now been moved to the Koma-Tala junction following complaints from residents of Kamulu and Joska towns whose lives had been torn right in the middle.
We moved the roadblock from Kamulu, not Kamulu, really, the Adi bridge to here, Koma, because of this densely populated and there are so many vehicles. So we discussed with our bosses from Nairobi, whereby they told us to move back to Koma. It's about 15 kilometers from the Adi River.
Wednesday, the roadblock at Koma had health officials from Machakos County who had pitched tent ready to check the body temperature of anyone seeking to cross the border.
Unakohoa, homa, koo inauma, hakuna.
This meant that only those cleared by the medical team were cleared to proceed with their journeys to either side of the border point.
Anyone who is traveling in and out of the sub-county, we are taking a history, the name, the phone number. We're also checking the temperature and also ask the screening questions, history of travel, history of contact with someone who is positive, and also asking about the symptoms.
Health officials at the roadblock also took time to educate the travelers on the need to use face masks while in public spaces.
So wakati nimefika hapa, ofisa akanijulisha kwamba nitarudi, nimekuwa na kiwewe. Lakini nikabidi nimwongeleshe na hatimaye ameniruhusu, lakini akasema lazima nitapimwa. Hii kupimwa nimeona ni nzuri kwa sababu unajua hatuwezi jua, hujui umekutana na kina nani, saa ingine tumeingia katika matatu.
At the Kinare and Nyambare roadblocks along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, things moved on smoothly, every motorist or pedestrian undergoing verification before being allowed to proceed. However, not everyone was clear to cross the boundaries. Some even attempted to disguise themselves as mourners going to collect a body for burial in Nairobi. But the police were keen not to fall on their cunning ways. Police were forced to erect two separate roadblocks along this stretch of the road due to the existence of other unofficial routes that a number of motorists had been using to bypass the police checkpoints. It was still clear that police were having a hard time controlling pedestrians and border riders who shamelessly walked or drove through the barriers. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i and Interior Permanent Secretary Karanja Kibicho made impromptu visits to various roadblocks across the metropolitan region to check on the implementation, barring movement between Nairobi and other counties. Kibicho announced that the government will add over 20 roadblocks within the central region to block Kenyans from dodging earlier established police roadblocks, in an effort to ensure that those offering essential services allowed to pass through these roadblocks also do not have the symptoms of COVID-19. They have to undergo a temperature check before they are allowed to pass. Dennis Matara, K24 from the Koma roadblock in Tala.